2000 national championship team. There's not been a Big Ten team that's won a championship since then. I asked him if that was just purely coincidence or a matter of who they might have seen in finals, but in the Big Ten team's 0-8 in national championships game. You put any kind of sort of credence in that, or see a coincidence, or anything you put your finger on from being an observer for all that sort of time?
Well, obviously there's really good programs all across the country. I think the consistency of the Big Ten is what makes it special. I think the depth, especially this year with 18 teams, there's no nights off in this league, and the amount of energy and fight that you have to have over the course of the regular season, can take its toll on teams, all the way through that. But you look at Purdue last year. Obviously playing for a national championship. I think it's obviously just a matter of time. But I remember that game. I remember Michigan State knocking off Iowa State. It was a heartbreaker for me as an Iowa State guy, and they called the moving screen at half court. It was not a great call at the Palace, but after my son played for Michigan State, it was fun to go back and relive that with coaches. But yeah, it's a matter of time before it happens again.
How have you seen Bryce and Juwan embrace the new kind of responsibilities they have as the older guys, the leaders on this team?
Yeah, it's such an important dynamic for this team because of what we lost. And Josiah Alec is one of the best leaders that we've had. Rick Mast, he'll be around, he'll be helpful, but it's hard to lead when you're not out there on the court, especially when times get tough. When you have a guy like Casey, who did so much for us. Casey was constantly talking. His motor was always on. So you lose guys like that, now you got to replace it. And I think as you continue to talk about the importance of it to your veterans and guys that have been there, that falls on Bryce, Juwan, and Sam. And Aaron Eulis, who was with us last year, obviously, but wasn't on the court, and Cale Jacobson, who's been a part of this thing now, who was really close to being a rotational guy for us a year ago. So, you've got a lot of players that have been there, and now it's their responsibility to talk to the new players coming into your program about your standards, about everything that you need to do to be a consistent basketball team. I'm proud of Juwan. I'm proud of Bryce, for embracing that role. Are we where we need to be right now? No, we're not. We still have trouble at times fighting through adversity. I think we're pretty damn good when things are going well for us. Now the challenge is having that same mentality and same consistency, maybe when things aren't going our way. But, I've been really pleased specifically with those two guys for setting the tone with their pace, with their talk to start practice. We talked about the importance of getting off to a fast start in practice and how that will simulate, a game situation. If you get off to a bad start, you have a tough time winning. So, those two guys have done a nice job of that.
You talked about Connor earlier. Just what have you seen from him this offseason? Do you think he's going to be an important piece for you?
Yeah, Connor will be a very important piece for us, especially for what we lost. Not only with Casey, but a couple of the other players that we lost in the portal. To put the ball in the basket for us, especially from behind the arc, and getting players that can knock down shots and space the floor was a big objective for us in the portal. And with Connor and with Gavin Griffiths, you get two guys who have played in the league that can really get it going from the outside. Connor, he's got such a level approach to everything, and I've been really impressed with that. He's picked things up defensively. Obviously, he played for a great program, and Greg Gard, obviously demands a lot on that end. So, Connor, when you get guys from programs like that, they pick things up quicker. So he's done a nice job on the defensive end as well. It's a very different style than Wisconsin, and he's picked things up very quickly. So. Yeah, I've loved what Connor's brought to us. He's a great locker room guy. Another guy that can give us leadership out there, and he's played in the league and he knows what it's all about.
Nebraska's like fourth most career minutes, not necessarily together. Can you kind of talk about what it's been like trying to get this experience and then play?
Yeah, well, we saw the benefit last year of having an older team. We had the oldest team in the Big Ten a year ago, and we wanted to, replace Josiah. We knew Rink pretty early was going to be out this year. Casey, played a lot for us in 3 years, and had 5 years of college experience. So again, having an opportunity to build the roster with experience, that was a big objective for us and a challenge to our staff. But we feel good about what we've added with 2 bigs in Andrew Morgan and Braxton Mia, who are both in fifth year of college. Bringing in Raleigh Wooster, is in his fifth year of college basketball. So we've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of minutes, but to your point, they haven't played together. The benefit you have in today's era is you get so much time together. Back in the summers, it used to be all individual work or pickup. Now you start putting in your philosophy because you have to make sure you're mixing the new guys and integrating into your system. So it's a different approach maybe than what it was in the past. But again, we've got, I think, high IQ players, smart guys that pick things up relatively quickly. And again, a lot of that speaks to the experience that our guys have.
How would you compare that ability to pick things up to previous teams that you've had? Because you've got a similar model. You bring in veteran players. I think it was Emmanuel Vandemelt that said the other day that, like, with his team, it took him like a couple weeks to learn something. With this group, it's a couple days. Have you noticed a difference just between the past 3 rosters?
Certain guys, yeah. I mean, certain guys pick it up faster than others. Raleigh Wooster's pick things up as fast as anybody I've ever been around. You tell him once, he's not going to make a mistake. And, you have some other guys, you may have to get more reps. And, you have a extra time where you might bring them back and watch film on the offense or watch some defensive concepts that they're having trouble with. And then hopefully it starts to click for them. So, it's different with different players. But from top to bottom, this team, I think, has been as good as I've had in that regard. Listen, we still got a long ways to go. We're going to have a scrimmage on Friday. It'll be our first inter-squad of the fall since we started live practices. And we're going to learn a lot about ourselves in that scrimmage. And there'll be a lot of things that we need to work on. And then the next scrimmage we have, hopefully we're better, which I think is the following week at the Vandy Center. So, the challenge is, we'll play ourselves for probably 3 or 4 times before we play Grand Valley, and then you get to play against other guys and different defense and different offense, and then we play Utah, and then we'll learn a lot about that, playing against another Power 5 team, and then you hope you have a lot of the kinks worked out by the time you tip off regular season on November 3rd. But yeah, overall, I have been pleased with how these guys have picked things up.
How much more versatility and lineup options do you feel you have out compared to years?
Yeah, we've got, this team's got a lot of size. When you look at Braxton 7'1", you got Burkay at 6'10", Jawan plays bigger than 6'6", 6'7", Bryce at 6'7", Raleigh 6'5" at the point. Then you got Andrew Morgan at 6'9", so we've got a lot of size. Gavin's got size and length. He's got a 7-foot plus wingspan. From a size and versatility standpoint, like Burkay, you can play some. Burkay's taller than Rick. That's one thing. He's got good instincts on the glass, and then Jawan's a good rebounder. Bryce is a good rebounder. Raleigh's an exceptional rebounder for his position. Sam gets in there and fights and scrums it out. So, you got some smaller lineups you might be able to play with some more skill out there. And then you can play some bigger lineup as well. So this, as far as versatility is concerned, this is probably the most versatile group that I've had, certainly at Nebraska.
How was that picture with Burkay playing the 5? Look, I know you mentioned that the other day. Is that something that you anticipate seeing a lot of potentially?
We'll see, Robin. You never really know, I guess, until you get out there with extended minutes. We have a very small sample size right now because our 5s have gone against each other. But we'll experiment some in the scrimmage this Friday with Burkay at some 5 and see what it looks like. Maybe a disaster, maybe something we love. I don't know until you actually have it out there and get a bigger sample size of what you actually have.
How does he look just in terms of defensive physicality and rebounding? The offense is kind of what he's known for. What about those other aspects in the Big Ten especially?
He's got as good instincts as anybody on our roster. And, he can really pass. He gets it off the glass. He's bringing the ball down the floor. He's going to initiate the offense for us. And, his ball fakes, passes over the top. He's just got a great feel for that type of thing. As far as the other side of it, the one disadvantage he had coming in is he missed the summer and got there for the fall workout. So we were careful with him. When you play for your national team, you got to make sure you don't burn them out. They need a break. So he's, again, from an IQ standpoint, he's as smart as anybody on our team. And he has picked things up. He asks great questions. And he's a really smart basketball player. Yeah, the thing that I've been really pleasantly surprised with Gavin, I knew he could shoot. He did it against us in PBA last year. Hit one from the logo, but his athleticism has been off the charts. And, he finishes above the rim. He's not going to back down from anybody. Unbelievable worker. He's in the gym nonstop. And, just a lot of raw talent and ability. He's still young. He's a true sophomore. But again, learned from a great guy in Steve Heichel, and that gets some of those maybe early learning curve situations out of the way when you play for another great coach. And we're just trying to do the best we can to put him in a position of success based on his unique skill set. But yeah, we love him. We love Gavin. Yeah, he's going to be on the court for us. He'll have days where he'll run off 4, 5, 6 threes in a row and can make contested ones as well. Shot selection is something that I've talked to him a lot about, taking the right shots. I think early on last year he took some really tough ones, but then at the end of the year he figured it out. He shot almost 40% the last month of the season. So again, having success playing against teams in this league, I think he's primed for a really nice year. Yeah, good. He's working extra in the weight room. Some guys come back and work on their game and shots, which he certainly does that, but he also puts in extra time in the weight room with our strength coach. So he's made really good gains in the weight room. I don't think he's ever going to be Arnold, but he's wiry strong. I played with maybe the best wiry strong guy of all time, Reggie Miller. He could lift a lot of weight, but he never put on size. Gavin's a strong kid, but not going to show up in his body. But again, it shows up in his explosiveness, it shows up in his athleticism, and again, he's going to put the work in. There's no doubt about that.
Fred, when it comes to the portal and transfer guys who can make an impact one year, how important is it to keep those guys?
Retention is one of the most important things right now in our business. That's where we were very fortunate to get Bryce and Jawan back, and they made the decision to come back. And hearing them talk up there on the podium, they wanted to come back and help this program get to where it's never been before. And we were very fortunate that they wanted to do that, to come back, because they were two of the very key components of the success we had a year ago. But that being said, it ended on a sour note when we did not win that game in March. So they want to come back and get there and be celebrated 20, 30 years down the line, when I'll probably be gone, but those guys will be, hopefully come back and have great celebrations. So we'll see. But yeah, retention is a big thing in today's era with the portal and with NIL.
Did Ray kind of set a template for the way Andrew can contribute and fit into the season?
Yeah, you see Rick over in the sideline. He's standing there every day, him and Josiah. Josiah's got his responsibilities, his duties now as a grad assistant. But, Rick's over there standing next to Joe, and he'll see sometimes maybe where we get a really nice cut to the basket and we'll miss it. And you just see him over there, put his hands over his face. And those are plays that he makes. So then he may go talk to Andrew, may go talk to Braxton about, hey, this is the first one. You have to exhaust this side before you go to the next side. So he's going to be a huge benefit for us because he fits the system so well. And again, even though he's not going to be on the court, he can still have a big impact on his team.
What have you seen from Braden so far coming in a year early?
I've been really impressed with Braden. And, he's got for a kid that should be a senior in high school, he's already got a Big Ten body. He's 6'6", 225. He's athletic. He's shooting the ball at a high clip right now. And we'll see what happens, when we play in our scrimmages and play against other teams in our exhibitions. But he's shown a lot. He's got a really bright future.
Can you speak to the journey that Justin Boris has taken as well and what an asset he can be for your program?
Yeah, I'm telling you, Justin's a guy that's going to get minutes for us at some point in his career. He's playing behind two obviously experienced guys, fifth-year guys, but every day he comes to work, he battles, he challenges those guys, he's smart. He's got a good IQ. He's a good finisher. He's athletic. So yeah, he's a guy that at some point, he's going to get minutes in our program. There's no doubt about that.
You guys were third in the league last year, brought a lot back, but yet the preseason predictions have you around 12th. I think, do you use that as motivation for your guys about being disrespected or anything?
Yeah, I mean, you always try to use that as motivation, and you look at the preseason, first, second, third teams. I don't think we have anybody on them. Bryce, I think, got a couple votes, but that's fine. It's who cares what the preseason polls say? It's all about how you go out, your overall body of work. And I don't think this is a group you're going to have to challenge and motivate. I think they just have that internal motivation anyway. So just to go out there and play with a chip on your shoulder, and hopefully prove them wrong. But the team last year I think was picked 12th and had a really good year. So we'll go out there and battle every night. I can promise you that.
Hey Fred, as we were talking about Amy, when I interviewed Amy yesterday, talk about the synergies between your programs and all the athletics at Nebraska.
Yeah, we're all very close in our athletic department, and it all starts with Coach Rule in the football program, what he does, and John Cook, been around a long time, won a lot of championships. Amy being able to be right next door. I'll go watch some of her practices. I'll look over, and she'll be at some of our practices. We practice at different times. Both having a kid on the team, I guess is pretty unique. But yeah, I think the world of Amy and the job that she has done, and try to steal some ideas from her. But as an overall athletic department, I mean, we're all very close. We see each other in the lunchroom every day at training table, and certainly I've taken a lot of things. Coach Rule, since he's been there, from John Cook, and talking to him. He's in the exercise room every day. I'll get in there about 3 times a month. But when I'm in there, I'll certainly have conversations with him about what he does with his girls, and talking to people around the program. And we've implemented some culture things, based on Coach Cook. But yeah, having Amy right next door, it's a hell of a benefit for me. She played at Nebraska, and she's just a great coach, but an even better person. Yeah. Connor's been great for us. Another guy that's a tremendous worker. He's a guy that's had success in the Big Ten. Set an all-time record for freshmen and three-pointers made, 69 threes made at Wisconsin. And played for a great coach and great guard. So he's very even-keeled kid. But losing Casey, losing some of the other guys, we needed a guy to come in and be able to knock down shots, and not only with Connor but also with Gavin. I feel we got 2 of the better ones in the portal in that regard. Yeah, nobody gets shots the way Casey did. But I'm telling you, Connor's got an unbelievably quick release, and he's really good at coming off dribble handoffs, stopping behind the screen. He's very good at using his screen, and again, when you play against Wisconsin, you know how many screens you have to fight through. So he's well versed in that. So he's been terrific. I've been really pleased with Connor. I think you grow every year in this business. If you don't, you're not doing the right things. You go and you do projects and you try to steal ideas and you talk to different coaches at all different levels. I'm very fortunate to have a wide, a lot of people, a big group of network that I can call and talk to. And not only NBA head coaches but assistant coaches. Have other coaches that have a lot of experience. So it's all about growing. I think that's the biggest thing. Once you stop growing, you should get out of the business. And every year you try to improve, you try to get better, and certainly go back and reflect on things that you could have done better. So that's what I think this business is all about.
What's one way you feel like you've grown this past year, especially the success in what you have?
Oh, I don't know. I like to say I'm responsible for Casey knocking down crazy contested shots, but listen, I think as coaches, our overall job is to figure out the skill set of your guys and try to put them in a position of success based on that. And we've run different systems with pretty much every team I've had. We've had different wrinkles. We certainly have our absolutes and our things that we'll do with every team, but it's all based on the talent of our roster and what you can do again to put those guys in a position of success. So last year's group was built like the team that I like to coach. You had a big guy that can make plays and make shots, and you had shooting all around, and you had some size and versatility on that roster. And I feel like we've got another group like that. So, as far as growth, I mean, again, I think you just every year you try to get better. You try to improve. I obviously had some great teams at Iowa State that I loved, but still you try to grow from every experience that you have.
How is Aaron looked as he gets back up to speed and gets ready to play actual meaningful games for the first time?
Yeah, he's, again, another guy that's got great experience in the league and a guy that's played in the NCAA tournament as a starter. And I've been really impressed with Aaron's leadership. He's very vocal. He's trying, even when things get tough, he's trying to be the leader out there on the floor. And he plays with incredible pace. That's the one thing I've been most impressed with, is he gets the outlet up the floor as well as anybody that we've had. And that's how we want to play, and then when we don't have it, now it's about setting up and executing. But yeah, I've been really pleased with Aaron.
How did you see him handle that, just mentally and emotionally, not being able to play last year?
I think he handled it beautifully. I mean, it was hard on him, I know that. And to have to sit in the circumstance that he had and what he had to deal with was very hard on him, but he never complained. He never came in and had bad days. He continued to go out there and work and make our team better. He was the starting point guard or the scout team point guard for every opponent that we had. And that, I think, will benefit him when we start playing Big Ten teams, because he's got a great feel. He already had it, from playing at Iowa, but now he experienced it by playing, the point guard of the scout team. So again, you got him, you got Aaron, you got Raleigh, you got two fifth-year guards that both have a ton of experience playing at a high level. So I think we're in a good position with our point guards.
I think Bryce is one of the more talented players in the league, especially offensively, just gifted. What steps have you seen him take, or does he need to take to be an all Big Ten caliber guy?
Yeah, the thing that we've really talked to Bryce about is being an all-around player. And he took a big step, I think, his development last year of having to play because of Aaron not being on the floor, to have to play with the ball in his hands. That really helped him with his development, his growth. This year he'll play both. I mean, he still have the ball in his hands because we were pretty darn good when we had that. But just a consistent defender. We put him on the point guard last year. Our defensive numbers took off. Having that constant energy on both sides of the floor. And again, that's built in practice. And that's been the thing that I've talked to Bryce a lot about. And I'm really proud of him because he's taken a big step in that with his leadership, setting the tone for our team. And I think he's primed for a really, really good year.
Other than winning a tournament game, getting back in the tournament, winning a tournament game, how are you going to define success this season?
That's a great question. You get that question all the time on how you define success. I think if we just continue to get better and trust the process and grow every day and grow every game and get better regardless of the outcome, the results take care of themselves. So for us, it's just about continuing to grow every time you step on the floor, and again, then your goals take care of themselves.
Hey, that public scrimmage you're doing next week, what was kind of the impetus behind that, and what value do you see of doing that in that setting and even going back to Japan?
Yeah, first of all, gives you an opportunity to play in front of your fans. There's always a little bit of a different feel with your emotions. You can have butterflies because there's people out there watching. And then you can't get away from what we need to do as a team. You always see it. The first time out there, you got fans, you try to play differently. You may try to go out there and do too much. So we wanted to get out there in front of the fans. And then we started talking about, how do we bring back some of the, we talked about playing even in the Coliseum. It didn't work out. So then, we talked about playing in Devaney. That's going to bring back good memories for me. I played in the Devaney Center. I coached in the Devaney Center when I was my very first Big 12 game was not a memorable one. We lost by one, but it was, to go back and play in the Devaney Center is going to be pretty cool. And I think the fans are excited about it as well. But, it just gives us a chance to play in a little different venue and, bring back some of the good old days when Coach Nee was coaching that building, and, Doc, and, some fun teams in Nebraska history.
Last question, Brad.
Well, I made 4 threes against us in the first half, so I told him, I know you like shooting in PBA, but the thing I was most impressed with, and in talking to people that coached against him, is just all they talked about was how much of a winner he is. You know, it's not necessarily he's going to go score 20 or have 15 assists. He just does whatever it takes to win, and that's what I've seen. And we've had multiple NBA people in our gym, and one of the first guys they point out is that guy might be your most important guy just because of what he does out there on the floor, and it's an all-around game. They love Aaron for what he does in that same regard as far as his leadership. And when you have lead guards that can organize you, I think you're a step ahead. And he's tough, he's gritty. He does everything. He rebounds, especially for his position. When you have a point guard that can rebound, again, that's a huge luxury to have. And he takes care of the ball. So yeah, I absolutely love the kid. We had to get that position, and again, we got him, and then we got a great returner in Aaron, to play point. And you got Bryce, who played a lot of those minutes last year as well. So we'll have multiple players that can handle it, and that's what that system's all about. If you have a multiple handler system, it's pretty tough to guard.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Fred.